Hey y'all, welcome back to the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen. Today we're going to be cooking chicken legs with an Alabama white sauce. Let's get started. First of all, I just want to talk about Alabama white sauce. I have never really made it before. I've always been very interested, but I recently purchased Big Bob Gibson's barbecue book. And I noticed the original recipe was in there, and instead of trying to find it online, I opted to go to the source. So I'm going to make it as accurately as possible from this book and see how it tastes. Okay, first of all, we're going to need 1 cup of mayo, to that we're going to add 1/2 cup of vinegar and 1/4 cup apple juice. Then we'll add 1 teaspoon of horseradish, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and we're gonna squeeze up 1 lemon here. We only need a teaspoon, but feel free to eyeball it. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And to that we'll add 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, then whisk to combine. Here I do a little taste test, and 3, 2, 1. Holy shit, this tastes exactly like my coleslaw recipe. I knew there was something vaguely familiar about the ingredients. It makes me wonder if Big Bob Gibson himself didn't have one of those, hey, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter moments with chicken and coleslaw. Anyway, so this gave me an idea and changed the whole course of this video. I decided to make my own coleslaw recipe and treat it as my original Alabama white sauce. We're going to start with 1 cup of mayo, 1/2 cup of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon black pepper. Then we're going to go with 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And lastly, 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed. Go ahead and whisk to combine. I decided not to edit this next clip just so I could show off my cat-like reflexes. What I'm doing here is adding a little water to thin the sauce. Typically when I make coleslaw, the water from the cabbage helps to thin the sauce so that it's not terribly thick, but in this case I needed to add a little water to thin it down. Into the fridge. Up next is chicken prep. I've already trimmed and cleaned the legs, and now we're placing them into the bag and preparing to brine them. Our intention here is to brine the legs overnight. We are going to prepare my super secret brine recipe. It is exactly 1 container of chicken stock. Then seal the bag and place in the fridge overnight. Be sure to place the bag in some sort of container or tray in case it leaks, because there is a 99% chance that if you don't put it in, it is going to leak. Fast forward to the following day. Pretty standard stuff here. We are going to light our chimney and get the smoker going and ready for the chicken. Once the charcoal is lit, go ahead and dump it into the charcoal basket. Place in your baffles and your grate. Now replace your lid and adjust your intakes to bring her up to temp. We are shooting for a temperature of 300 degrees. I would normally do this next step in my garage, but since it's 150 degrees out there, I decided it's probably not the best idea, especially working with chicken. So we're going to place our brined chicken on the tray and prepare to season them. We're going to start by sprinkling them with kosher salt. After that, we're going to put on a nice heavy coat of freshly ground black pepper. You might not think it's worth it, but I highly recommend you use peppercorns that are freshly ground in your spice grinder. The flavor enhancement you receive from the pepper is 10 times better than anything you will get from the can. Okay, that's it. Simple salt and pepper. Now we're headed to the smoker. Alright, now we have our chicken and we're going to place them on the grates. A drum smoker like the one I'm using tends to have a hot spot in the middle, so we are going to arrange the legs in a circle around the outside of the grate. We are putting the wider portion towards the center, that way the thicker parts will cook faster than the thinner part of the legs. Okay, now that we have them arranged, we're going to replace the lid and fast forward 1 hour. We're just going to take a minute here to give them a quick spray with some duck fat, just to add a little extra flavor and to help the skin get crispy. As you know, with smoked chicken, that is often a problem. So by spraying them with a little bit of fat, it helps for the skin to get crispy on the outside. Now that we've spun the grate, we're going to poke the fattest one we can find, which, now that I think about it, is good life advice in general. While chicken doneness is usually 165 degrees, it's not necessarily the best temperature for legs. We push these legs up to around 200, and with the fat content of legs and thighs, you don't have to worry about drying them out as you do with breasts. The higher cooking temperature combined with the longer cook time will also help remedy the rubber skin issue. Now that our chicken is done, it's time for some fancy plating. I started to arrange these and I overestimated the amount of chicken I had, so I had to end up pushing them closer together, but here I'm creating 2 separate piles because I have 2 separate sauces. Alright y'all, it's time to get funky. Alright, in case you're wondering what my final assessment was, I actually enjoyed my sauce a little better flavor-wise. I think the sugar that I added to my sauce added another level of flavor and increased the overall depth. So I think I might revisit Big Bob Gibson's recipe, but try to add a little sugar to it. Thank you for joining the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen today. We hope to see you next time.